Hi guys. Today I'm going to go over some of the different art supplies that I use, things that you may be curious about and wonder if you actually need them. And I also want to share with you some tools that I use at home and I've been using ever since college that work great, and you might just have them around your house. I'm mainly going to focus on drawing like we've been doing in class lately, but I'm also going to show you a few other odds and ends in my toolkit. Literally, this is my toolkit. I've had this tackle box since college. Somebody gave it to me and it's super ugly, and I drew on it and made it even uglier. But it's super handy because you can put, say, all of your chalk pastels or erasers and pencil sharpeners and things on the top, and then this slides out and you can just throw everything in here. This is the same art supplies I've had since the olden days. I have a variety of colored pencils, drawing pencils, markers, pens. I even have a pen from a chiropractic office with a quote from Thomas Edison. Okay, you'll notice that I've got lots of just destroyed Q-tips in here. I probably should clean up, but I wanted to show you how messy my art supplies are, for one thing. Trying to keep everything perfectly in the kit is actually pretty distracting for me when I'm working on art. So I'm going to move this out of the way and show you a few things and how they work. Alrighty, let me slide this down here. Okay. So you may have seen a kit, something like this, at Walmart. This is a great thing to buy. I love this little tin because you can keep all your stuff in here, and you could probably keep everything you actually need for drawing in this little box. Handy dandy. Okay, so first we have the infamous number 2 pencil, number 2 HB. This is basically halfway between hard and soft lead, not actually lead, graphite. So if you're going to pick one pencil to have, this is your best bet. It can go pretty dark and it can go pretty light. It blends pretty well. Speaking of blending, I have a few blending things I'm going to show you too. You should maybe just pick out a piece of paper and try out some different things that you might already have. This is a pedigree pencil. Whoops, that one needs sharpened. Hold on. I have another one here. I have a lot of different odds and ends. This one is a 2B. So it's a little bit, it'll go a little darker. I've got a charcoal pencil, which is pretty fun because it's literally charcoal that you don't have to hold with your hands. Charcoal's nice because it's really smudgy. Here, I'll go ahead and blend these. Now, one thing I'm always telling the students in my class is don't blend with your fingers. I'll show you why. So here's one of these pedigree pencils, pretty soft pencil. This one is also charcoal. Charcoal is actually just literally charcoal, like from a charcoal briquette or a campfire. There's lots of different brands. This one is Wolf's Carbon. See, these are all pretty much the same. I have a big variety of things. They all look basically the same. Let's see what we've got. We have a General's sketching pencil. This one is 6B. So as we get with more B, we have a softer lead. This one's cool because it's got a flat lead. Whoops. It's cool. So I usually sharpen that one with this. Just slide it along the lead like this and cut the wood away. Obviously, you can't put it in a pencil sharpener. So this one, if you're going to be sketching something really big, you can get really fat lines with this one. Also, skinny lines. It's nice too because it doesn't roll away. Alrighty, let's see what else I got here. Of course, mechanical pencil for the win. I love the 0.5 millimeter lead. That's a really skinny lead. Well, there's one skinnier, but usually you can't buy it at Walmart. This is such a fine lead pencil. You can also shade with it, but it's going to be really hard for you to get rid of your pencil lines as you're shading. Usually, if you buy decent quality lead and not those ones that are pre-filled, if you buy the kind that you fill up on your own, the lead is pretty soft, so it's pretty nice. You can really actually do some artwork with this kind of pencil. The mechanical pencil, I love this one because it has a twist-up eraser, which leads me to erasers. White erasers are the bomb. You can get the cap kind that covers the pink eraser. These pink erasers, they're for a dire emergency. They might work fine in taking notes in class if you need to erase one letter of a word, but they're not great. White erasers are my go-to. They erase much more thoroughly. And if you're drawing soft enough, it should just disappear. So that's why I always have my students buy white erasers. You can actually buy this eraser stick. This is in the office supply section usually. Comes in a 3-pack. And it's just a sort of endless eraser. And I really prefer this because I can really get in there and create highlights and erase small things in my drawing. And a lot of times I actually draw with my eraser. I'll create highlights with my eraser. One thing I was telling my students yesterday, a lot of times when you have to erase, you get a lot of these crumbs on your page, right? What do you do with them? You could blow them off, but you may have that unfortunate moment when you accidentally spit on your artwork and a little water droplet might ruin it. You ideally will have one of these. This is actually for the purpose of cleaning off eraser crumbs. I've had this since college when I started out in a drafting class. You can brush off your artwork without messing up, without smudging or blending it at all. If you have to erase and you don't have a little handy dandy whisk broom, you can use a crumpled up paper towel like this and kind of lightly brush it off and create a little wind and brush it off like this. And if you have nothing to work with except for your hand, you're going to want to brush off your shavings with the back of your hand like this. You don't want to touch your artwork with the palm of your hand or your fingers, because sometimes they're very dirty and then you'll smudge your artwork. And they have oils that blend with the graphite on your paper, which makes it really hard for you to build up the layers or erase. So if I'm going to erase and I don't have any other thing to brush it off with, I'm going to brush off my artwork with the back of my hand really, really lightly. Get rid of those eraser shavings. As far as blending, I'll just start with a regular old number 2 pencil and show you some different things that we have here. So say I'm going to make a little sphere. And I want to blend this. One thing that is really handy that you might have at home, a cotton swab, a Q-tip. You can just get that. You want to just blend it with your finger, but I'm just really encourage you not to do that because you can't really completely erase after you've mixed the oils from your skin with the graphite. Show you something else. Let's see. My favorite tool. The ideal thing that you might want is one of these, a blending stick. It's basically a paper tube that's been sharpened in the factory. They come perfectly white and then they get really, really dirty and you just throw them away. But the nice thing about this is it's so accurate. You can blend exactly where you want it. And if you're really trying to do realistic pencil drawing, you can do really tiny stuff with this. And you'll use the ones that you'll have, if you buy them in a pack, some of them will be really, really dirty and you'll use those for darker shading, and you keep your clean ones for places where you want to blend a highlight. But they usually come in like a 10 or a 15 pack, and they're really cheap, really nice to have in your pencil box. Let me see what else I have here. I have an extra black layout pencil. When you use a pencil that leans toward B's instead of H's, H would be the harder and B would be the softer, you're not going to be able to get a really, really light value because that lead is so soft it's going to grab on. This bumpiness that you see, that's called the tooth of the paper. You want paper that has a little tooth like that so it can grab on. You don't want super slick like maybe printer paper. But it's more difficult to shade lightly with a really soft pencil. Try though you may, you can't get that to be really, really light as you can with even just a number 2 pencil. I'm able to get this. Well, it would help if it was sharpened. I'm able to get this to be much, 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 much lighter. And then if I blend it, I'll show you if I blend this one. If I blend this soft lead, hopefully you can see this, it still shows that the texture of the paper, the tooth of the paper. On this one, it's more willing to just slide around on the surface. So the softer the lead, you're going to want to save that really soft pencil for your final touches for your really, really dark shadows, which there's definitely a place for that. When you want your shadow to be really dark and you're finishing up, that's when you want to grab that really soft pencil. But you're going to want to start out working on your drawing with more mid-tones and then till you get it right, and then you're going to want to darken it in. Let me see, was there something else I wanted to show you? Oh, if you have a really soft lead pencil, you're not going to want to put it into the pencil sharpener, the electric or powered pencil sharpeners at school or whatever. It's best to have one of these that you keep in your little box and have something handy that you can sharpen it into so you can control, well, you know how these work. You can control how much pressure you use so that you don't break off that soft lead. You got to go very gently when you sharpen these. A lot of times I just sharpen it onto a piece of paper on the edge and then throw away the paper. Let's see, I wanted to show you guys. So for blending, we've got our handy dandy Q-tip. We've got our blending stick. Of course, you could always use something like this, a cotton ball. So if you want to get a really big soft area, that would work. Let's see, I was doing this in class yesterday. If I have something a little larger and I want to get it a really soft value all the way across first before I darken it in at all, I may just have a tissue or a paper towel or a napkin, just not a tissue with lotion, a regular piece of paper tissue, and I might just blend it like this before I add any darker values. I can blend like this and then come in with my eraser. And because I didn't mix it with the oils from my finger, I can get it completely off the paper quite easily before I go in and add any other. And then I also can use my eraser if I want to create a highlight, whatever. I'll show you guys how to do that water droplet, heart water drops pretty soon. But when you blend your pencil with the right tool, it's much, much easier to erase it. You can get in here and clean this whole thing up and it comes right off. All right, that's what I wanted to show you today. I'll show you how to draw something next. Bye, y'all.